Welcome to another ghostly tale. Today's tale comes from Hexham, and it is called the Hexham Heads. Back in 1971, Colin and Leslie Robson were in their house. They were young, 6 and 8 year old. The youngest of them, Leslie, was outside helping his dad dig in the garden, and Colin was upstairs. He'd been off school bad. He was looking out the window, and he could see Leslie digging in the garden when Leslie dug up a strange looking stone. Leslie was running around the garden, excited about the stone. So Colin got ready, came downstairs quickly to see what all the fuss was about. Leslie had found a small stone head in the garden, and he was pleased with it. Colin says he wanted one too, so he started digging in the garden as well to see if he could find one. And a little while later, he too found a head. The two heads looked like they were either carved out of stone or moulded. One had a more female look, and the other was a male face. They cleaned them up and took them in the house, and then put them on the shelf. As soon as they brought them into the house, things started to happen. Doors would slam, objects would move, and there would be funny noises in the house. This went on for a few days, and it even affected the next door neighbours, the Dodds family. Mrs. Dodds, a few days later, was talking to Mrs. Robson when she said that she had a very awful thing happen the night before. They were all in bed, and they heard a noise. They heard a noise coming from the stairs. As Mrs. Dobson looked out, she saw a figure, part man, part creature, crawling up the stairs. It wasn't a werewolf, but it was a were-sheep. She said it had the legs of the man, but it looked like it had the body, the top half of a sheep or a goat. It came so far up the stairs and then turned around and went away. After this, the Robinson family, because of what was happening in their house and in the Dodgers family's house, they decided to get into contact with somebody to see what they could do. After getting in touch with the papers, they finally got in touch. Anne Ross, Dr. Anne Ross, a Celtic archaeologist specialist, came to see them. She said that she thought these were Celtic heads and of ritual significance. She asked if she could take them to study, which she did, and she took them to her office in Newcastle University. As soon as she took them in the office, again, things started to happen. There was noises, things would move, doors would slam, and one of her colleagues even said that they had seen a were creature, part man, and this time part wolf, which walked through the office. And to get more help, shared their heads with other lecturers and other professors to see if they could find out what it was. Sadly, with lending these heads out, they eventually disappeared, and they have not been seen since. But for the few people who have handled them, these heads have brought strangeness and paranormal activity. To add to the story, in 1972 or 73, Desmond Craig came forward and he said that he'd made the heads when he worked at a cement factory in Hexham. He says he'd made them for fun, for his 2 children, one a girl and one a boy, and that's why the heads looked female and male. He said that for fun they had buried the heads in the house where they lived, which was now the Robson's house. So if you're ever digging in the garden in the spring or the summer and you find a funny looking head made of stone, it may be a good idea to put back where you found it, or you may too meet the were creature.